Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from Vox. Now, it might seem like I'm picking on this soy boy little bitch Dylan Matthews, because I'm now going to be doing another article that this reject fucking did. Okay? Because I was going through his repertoire before, closing it out last night. I said, oh, let me see what other things he's written here. And I came across his article from July 2nd. And I know right now it's the 6th going on the 7th, my time as I make this. But I really felt like I should do an article on this. I mean, a video on this article. Because this guy is a fucking waste of space. So the article we're going to be looking at here from Vox, from Dylan Fuckwit Matthews, is titled, Court Packing, Democrats' Nuclear Option for the Supreme Court Explained, which he doesn't really explain it. All he does is go, well, if we want what we want, we gotta fucking cheat. That's his explanation. Why an FDR plan from the 1930s is suddenly popular again, which he leaves out the fact of what was going on in the 1930s and the New Deal, and the fact that a lot of it was very fucking unconstitutional. Hence the reason why the Supreme Court went and said, Franklin, pull your head out of your fucking ass. That shit isn't going to fly. But yet, he's trying to portray it like, oh yeah, well, the mean, big, mean, awful Supreme Court, they said no to the New Deal because the New Deal was shit. Besides unconstitutional. If you want to get if you want to get into the New Deal, as someone who's studied history, who had to learn it to get their fucking degree, Dylan. See, you don't understand history. All right? The thing with the New Deal, it actually stunted the economic recovery, like the growth that would lead to an economic recovery. FDR knew this. He wanted everyone dependent on the fucking government tit. Because economy starts doing better, he starts meddling. Huh. That make any fucking sense? Because that's what he basically did. Is the economy started to recover. And he's like, oh, well, we gotta help these people. And he fucked the economy more and put more people out of work. Because, oh, good example, the Conservation Corps. Let's get these people fucking building roads and doing shit with shovels, and we'll put all these construction companies out of business. And we'll get more of those guys who need a fucking job working on the Conservation Corps. Because that's what happened with the CCs. But see, that's one thing that's never talked about with the CCs, is how it put so many businesses under and couldn't employ the people that it put out of work as it did so. But we're going to leave this out. We're going to leave all this shit out as we push this bullshit about packing the Supreme Court. So we can, fucking fudge pack every motherfucker out here who doesn't want to buy into our leftist shit. We can fuck him right up the ass. As you can tell, this little fucking prick has pissed me off. Which, I mean, again, look at this fucking reject. Okay, the best part of him ran down his mother's inner fucking thigh. Alright, if this kid was mine, I would fucking seriously smack the fucking crap out of him. And I don't believe in hitting children. At this point, he's an adult. I would smack the fucking crap out of him. Because this kid, seriously, the best part of him ran down his mother's thigh. If this was my kid, I would literally fucking go to my wife and go, bitch, you should have swallowed that night. I would have, word for word, I would say that to her. Because this guy is a fucking reject from hell. Anyway, let's get into the article. As soon as Anthony Kennedy announced his retirement from the Supreme Court, putting the legality of abortion and the safety of protections for LGBT people in immediate jeopardy, calls started pouring in from liberals and leftists for a drastic response: court packing. Well, here's the thing. It's pretty much the mainstream press, was it NBC or ABC, had to admit that abortion is pretty much fucking safe. Okay? And this whole thing of protections for LGBT, protections. It's not about rights. See, to them, the Supreme Court isn't about rights, because fuck equal rights. Fuck equality of opportunity. Fuck the fact that they have the same rights as me or anyone else, okay? Because, no, we got to give them protections, which is preferred fucking treatment. See, thank you for fucking admitting that the whole point of this shit is preferred fucking treatment. And you look at this blue checkmark fucking shit here, you know, Jacob and Mag. It's time to pack the Supreme Court. The New Republic. It's time to pack the court. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Ian Milshire, in defense of court packing, okay, from Slate. The outline: under a Democratic president, Democrats in Congress should increase the number of Supreme Court seats to at least 11. I mean, this is some fucked up shit, because they're so fucking Trump deranged that they know that they're losing. They know that their views are not popular. So the only way that they feel that they can get what they want done is to cheat by stacking the court. And they think that's fair. And I look at this shit and I go, you fucking millennial participation trophy reject motherfuckers. Do you honestly have a fucking clue of what fair is? You go, oh, the conservative court. Kennedy wasn't a fucking conservative, really. Well, he was. But he was a Reagan-era conservative. So he was moderate. He was middle of the road. And you think that this is like, oh my God, like you're losing one of your own. He wasn't one of your own. And heaven forbid, when you've got a fucking senile old bitch like Ruth Bader fucking Ginsburg on your side, who should have retired a long fucking time ago, you know, shut the fuck up. You got that bitch who wipes her ass with the Constitution to push your fucking shit. The majority of Americans are not fucking LA, you know, like Hollywood, Beverly Hills, LA, and fucking New York City and Chicago. That's not the makeup of the majority of this fucking country. But you fucking rejects want to go, oh yeah, well, we make up the majority and what we want is what we want and what we're going to get is what we want. Fuck all you all. All your parents should have shaked you like a British nanny shakes a baby when you were a fucking infant. Wait a minute, with how fucked in the head you are, maybe they did. There is nothing in the Constitution mandating that the Supreme Court have 9 members, and a simple act of Congress could increase that number to 11 or 15 or even more. That effectively creates a way for a political party in control of the House, Senate, and presidency to add a large number of ideologically sympathetic justices to the court all at once. Okay, thank you for admitting your fucking intentions, Dylan. Thank you. Thank you for admitting the left's intentions. Because it isn't about the Constitution. It isn't about the fact of what the Founding Fathers intended. It isn't about the fact of freedom. It isn't about anything like that. It's about the fact of ideology. Fuck the Constitution. We want our ideology to be the dominant ideology. And if we got to cheat and throw 15, you know, the count up to 15 justices on the court, we'll do it. What are you going to do about it? Well, I hate to break it to you, stupid little fucks. Half the country, okay, probably, which is more than what we would say in, you know, in the proportion to the colonies, will probably rise up to you stupid fucks. Because if you go with the, you know, the American Revolution, okay, there wasn't a majority of people. You could say there was a plurality, but in essence it was more of a minority. And they fought for the freedom of the country. Because you had people that didn't want to get involved, and you had loyalists as well. These days, with the shit that you idiots are pulling, I'm telling you, you're going to have more people. You're probably going to have close to that 50% mark of people stand up to the shit saying, fuck you. And I mean stand up, not just talking about it. I'm talking about if you draw a line in the fucking sand, they're going to walk across it. And I mean that both literally and figuratively. To many leftists and left liberals, such drastic action is needed if any progressive legislation in the in the future is to survive. Okay. No. This should read, to many leftists and far left liberals, which are a minority. Okay, you are saying that this is necessary in order to survive. Yeah, because your ideology fucking sucks. Okay? If your ideology was winning, you wouldn't need this shit. But you're trying to act like, oh, well, the majority of people want this. If the majority of people wanted this shit, if they actually wanted it, you wouldn't be getting your asses kicked right now. You wouldn't get your fucking teeth kicked in, on the metaphysical, level of ideology. You people are fucking pathetic. Dylan, you've taken a couple of dicks in your life, haven't you, bitch? Because this is beyond soy boy cuckery. Especially with how much LGBT fucking shit you're pushing. Which, with how ugly of a fuck you are, you ain't even getting your dick wet on some dude's ass, using some dude's ass with some lube. The concerns and questions have less to do with hot-button social issues like abortion and LGBT rights, and more to do with the constitutionality of economic regulation and redistributive programs. Ha ha ha! Thank you. So, here we are. Further than most of the leftist stupid fucks reading this would probably read. And he goes, he just had to admit, okay, well, there's not a lot of concern with abortion or LGBT with the court. But it has to do with the fact of our stealing from people through taxation so that we can get free shit. Oh, well, that might have constitutional issues. And economic regulation, yeah. Socialism, you mean? I love this euphemism. I fucking love this little bastard's euphemism there. Because what he is saying there with economic regulation is he wants socialism, which is largely unconstitutional. Just this past Wednesday, the Supreme Court effectively gutted public sector unions under the guise of the First Amendment. Bullshit. Lying, you lying little fucker, Dylan. Dylan, you know what? I wish I could meet you someday face to face so I could just call you a lying little soy boy cuck fuck to your face. Because what the Supreme Court ruled is that unions cannot compel an employer to have you join, or if you choose not to join, which you can say, oh, I'm not going to join, they're still going to take your fucking union dues from you. So basically what they stopped was the fact of the union stealing your fucking money. Even if you disagree with them. All right, well, especially if you disagree with them, I should say. You should have a right to join a fucking union. That's your personal freedom of association. That violates freedom of fucking association. If you choose not to associate with the union, that is your fucking choice. If they are ideologically against what you believe, it violates your First Amendment rights. They have no fucking right to compel you to fucking join. And even if you don't want to join, still fucking pay. Which is what the Supreme Court said. That they can't do that. But oh no, we gotta paint this under a totally different fucking picture. Because Dylan, you're a dishonest, sleazy little shitbag who should get his fucking head out of his ass. Jesus fucking Christ. You make me sound like I have fucking Tourette's, you piece of fucking shit. You really do. In 2012, there were 4 votes in the Supreme Court, including Anthony Kennedy, for striking down the Affordable Care Act in full. Yeah, because it's unconstitutional. You cannot fucking force someone to purchase a service. Holy fucking shit. And then and then give them a tax penalty if they don't. That's unconstitutional. And there's an emerging movement for judicial conservatives championed prominently by Donald Trump's appellate appointee, Don Willett, which wants the courts to become much more aggressive in blocking economic regulation. Whoa. The economic regulation that they want to get rid of, I love this shit. You got a clueless soy boy fuck talking out his ass who's got no fucking clue because someone told him some shit once. You do realize, Dylan, that regulations are largely written by the largest corporations in particular industries to stop competition and basically lock in their market share. That's why you have redundant regulations like you wouldn't believe. So rolling stuff back to where regulations are reasonable, which, if you look at the link down here, it says, Rehabilitationist Libertarian Movement Undo New Deal. This fucking little bastard is so obsessed with the New Deal. The New Deal was largely unconstitutional. The New Deal was bad for the United States. The New Deal created the Ponzi scheme of social fucking security in part. FDR was behind that, but yeah, that was part of his fucking socialist fucking bullshit. Social Security, the New Deal, all of it. So rolling back regulations to where they're reasonable, so there's competition, so that America can have small business, which small business is still the largest employer in this country, so that we can have more people go back to work, so that if you want your open fucking borders, well, shit, let me put it to you this way. Rolling regulations back means jobs. Rolling them back to where your water's still protected, the air's still protected, but you don't have the high-priced, redundant bullshit that stops small business from getting into an industry. You get rid of all that, all those fucking people you want crossing the fucking border can have a job. It'd be like Oprah going, you got a job, and you got a job, and you got a job. You all got jobs. Oh, wait, if they had jobs, then that would mean that they wouldn't get stuck sucking on the Democrat tit. And that's right. The Democrats would become even more irrelevant. God, you guys are fucking pathetic. If that kind of judicial conservatism comes to dominate in the Supreme Court, then even winning back the White House and Congress won't be enough for programs like a $15 minimum wage, or Medicare for all, or a free college plan to be passed and secured. Why? See, this is what pisses them off. See, they keep saying conservative. What they should be saying is constitutionalist. Because as a 1950 style conservative, well, I'd say conservative libertarian, but they were a constitutionalist libertarian. All right, they believe if it ain't in the Constitution, it's up to the states or whatever. I mean, like the Founding Fathers, they are the closest thing, myself included, with falling in their ideology, to the Founding Fathers. So, of course, all of this shit would be unconstitutional. See, this is what you stupid fucks don't want to admit. None of the shit that you want is remotely constitutional. And heaven forbid that constitutionalists get on the court, because then your day is done. The chickens have come home to roost. Every leftist fucking feels over reals fucking thing that you motherfuckers would create, it'd end up at the Supreme Court and they'd be like, yeah. The Founding Fathers would tell you to suck it up, go out there, get an actual degree in something other than women's studies, and not expect to get free shit from the government. Or, don't get a degree in New Age tarot card reading, or fucking New fucking Age crystal healing. I mean, don't fucking get these stupid, useless fucking degrees, and you don't need the government tit to support you. You don't need a government job. You don't need free fucking handouts. You don't need a free education. This is what pisses me off about, we should just get free college educations. If college was free, besides the fact that every one of their mothers going now and it's cheapened the fucking degree itself. If college was free to the point of where you could take whatever the fuck you want. Anyone who's ever seen the movie PCU, you'd see, like, some of the majors that those idiots had in the movie, and you'd be like, oh my fucking God, like, Sanskrit. You'd have all these fucking feels over reals fucking degrees out there, and you'd have these undereducated, because when you get those type of degrees, you don't even know how to fucking serve coffee. You have to be taught that. So yeah, you'd have all these fucking underskilled, undereducated fuckwits who believe in fucking cultural Marxism going to your local Starbucks going, yeah, I don't know how to make coffee, but I need a job. Can you teach me and then pay me to do it? Medicare for all. Medicare is unconstitutional, but for whatever reason, somehow they let it slip by. The Supreme Court would stand ready to rule them unconstitutional nearly as soon as they were as they are passed. In such a scenario, court packing starts to look like a reasonable defensive measure. A defensive measure. Defensive? You're trying to ram down the throats of American people shit that they do not want. You are a minority, and you want this shit. The majority does not want it. And you're talking about defensive measures? Well, you're claiming defensive measures is offensive. Because you are on the offensive. But you don't want to admit that because you're victims. Dude, like I said, if you were my kid, I would seriously go to your mother and go, bitch, you should have fucking swallowed that night. You are fucking disgusting. The prospect of a court slapping down progressive economic measures brings to mind the last time court packing was seriously considered. In 1937, Franklin Roosevelt was facing off with a hostile Supreme Court that routinely ruled aspects of the New Deal unconstitutional on the same grounds. During that era, the court interpreted the Due Process Clause of the 5th and 14th Amendments as sharply limiting economic regulation and ruling out things like federal bans on child labor, minimum wage laws, and legislation limiting work weeks to 60 hours. Well, see, this is complete bullshit. See, this asshole, as I proved in my last article, will fucking claim shit, and then if you actually go look at his fucking sources, it says totally different shit. Okay? Because with the federal child labor law, he's talking about Hammer versus Dagenhart, okay? Which, let's go take a quick look. And he's using Wikipedia as his sources. This is not a credible fucking source. See, and he's completely dishonest. The court ruled that didn't rule against child labor laws. They said that that was up to the states to enact. Which, oh my God, they did. I love how they twist this shit. And here's the thing. They were talking about minimum wage laws for women. He's trying to make it sound like it was minimum wage laws all around. No. Minimum wage laws for women. This wasn't about minimum wage laws for men. This was about fuck men. This was, well, women should get paid such and such an hour. Fuck men. No minimum wage with this. I love this. So, alright. Misrepresenting shit here. I love this. It makes it sound like it's minimum wage laws as in the actual, minimum wage for everyone. And then his limiting work hour to 60 hours a week. If I want to work an 80-hour week, I should have the right to work an 80-hour week. And the thing is the court kind of felt the same way. And here's the thing. This is stuff that unions negotiate your work week and shit like that. I mean, this is fucking hilarious. Jesus Christ, dude. At least find shit that backs up what you're fucking saying. Because he wanted to work more hours. He wanted his employees to be able to work more hours. If they wanted to work the hours, they should be able to work the fucking hours. But saying, oh no, you can only work this many hours. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude, you are fucking pathetic. Roosevelt's plan to increase the court size, which would have allowed him as many as 6 new justices for a 9-6 majority for the New Deal on a 15-member court, ultimately failed in the Senate, but not before successfully pressuring Justice Owen Roberts to switch his alignment from the court's conservatives to the liberals and rule for the constitutionality of minimum wage laws and the National Labor Relations Act. Well, here's the thing. Completely different case. And I'm sure this has to do with actual wage laws for everyone, not just women. But see, he's got to misrepresent it. So, West Coast Hotel Company versus Parrish. So yeah, it said, okay, the state has the right to fucking set up minimum wage laws. Holy fucking shit. That's a state's fucking right. It's not a federal right? Oh my God. You are a sleazy, dishonest fuck, dude. Just to try to get this, to push this bullshit, we gotta stack the court. See, FDR shit was unconstitutional. It wasn't the fact that, oh no, there was conservatives on the court. Back then, they were constitutionalists. Okay? Because you're trying to separate them and go, oh, well, you've got the conservatives and the progressives on the court, and it didn't work like that back then. But see, you think that your readers are too fucking stupid to actually have a grasp on history, or you're just too fucking stupid, I think. You had people who were constitutionalists. It didn't matter if they were Democrat or if they were Republican. You had constitutionalists on the court from both sides of the false left-right paradigm. Then you had the progressives, which you're fucking socialists. You're communists. You're Marxists. You're scum. If calls for the court packing grow loud enough, you could see something similar happen on the current court if John Roberts, soon to be the median justice, starts to view a major part of his job as avoiding the radical disruption of the court by Democrats who fear being locked out of policy influence for a generation. So, heaven forbid we get a constitutionalist in there who understands the Constitution, because then you won't get the fucking shit that you want. That's what you're admitting to. You're a disgusting guy. You know that? Actually, you're not even a guy. You're a fucking eunuch. The case for court packing. One of the most extensive arguments for court packing comes from David Ferris, a political scientist at Roosevelt University, whose book, It's Time to Fight Dirty, argues for court packing as part of a larger set of strategies to amplify Democrats' political power, including statehood for D.C. and Puerto Rico, breaking California into multiple states, and expanding the House of Representatives. Yeah, because, heaven forbid, you've controlled the fucking country for how fucking long? And heaven forbid the people decide that they've had enough, and they want to change their fucking minds, and they want to go a different direction. And when you use a book that's titled, It's Time to Fight Dirty, that makes it clear what your intent is. You're going to cheat. Because you can't win on the merit of your ideas. You can't win on a level playing field. You can't win, period. You're going to cheat. The Republican Senate's refusal to even consider Merrick Garland for Antonin Scalia's seat, Ferris writes, violated a norm that presidents should get to nominate whomever they like within reason. Oh, but wait a minute. You're a political scientist. As someone who studied history, I know this. You should know this. I did take political science for a little while I was, getting my degree done. You do realize that when a lame duck president is in office, or it's an election year, and they might not be in there for a second term, the tradition has been to wait until after the election and the swearing in of the president. But you didn't get what you wanted. You didn't get to slip Merrick. You didn't get to slip Merrick on. You didn't get to break the fucking tradition. You didn't get to go against the rules, the unwritten rule of that tradition that was created by it. He continues, because of this unspoken agreement between the two parties, both sides regarded Supreme Court openings as what they are: lotteries to be won by lucky presidents or lost by those unfortunate enough to not preside over an opening. Exactly. Obama was a lame duck. He did not have that right to preside over that opening. That was Donald Trump's right. It might have been Hillary's right. Why do you think the Democrats backed the fuck off like they did? Because they knew if it got out there that, hey, none of these presidents that were lame ducks, none of these presidents who were up for election nominated anyone for the Supreme Court because of this tradition, then you guys look like complete and total fucking losers, which you are. And you're doing damn good at making yourselves look that way. The GOP's treatment of Merrick Garland means that this informal agreement is trash. No! That's bullshit. That is bullshit. Because the GOP said, wait a minute. This is an election year. He's a lame duck. The tradition is this. Because they held Obama to a tradition of this nation and held the Democrats to it. That informal agreement's trashed? No. Fuck you. You guys tried to trash that tradition. That was an informal agreement. So fuck off and die. That, to Ferris, makes extraordinary measures like court packing suddenly viable. Why? Because you couldn't slip someone in, fuck tradition, and now you're upset. Oh, wow. This is sad. It's fucking disgusting. And the threat of conservative court undoing just about any legislative accomplishments of the next unified democratic government makes it necessary. Yeah, you fuckers aren't going to have a unified democratic government for a long fucking while. Just keep up this shit. This is just sour grapes. People see this shit and they're going to be like, yeah, we really don't want Democrats in. You can't win on the value of your ideas, so you're going to cheat. Fuck you. A court that strikes down a Medicare for all insurance system, or legislation establishing equal funding for public education, or that chips away at abortion rights, gay rights, or other issues that are now supported by a clearly majority of the public will create a profound crisis in American society, of the likes that we haven't seen since the Great Depression. Bullshit. Okay, first off, Medicare for all is unconstitutional. There's nowhere in the Constitution that remotely makes that feasible under it. This establishing equal funding for public education is complete fucking bullshit. Because what they want is to basically, where communities are doing, you know, how do I put this? To keep, say, Detroit happy. They want to find a way to pump more money in there, and they're already paying more per student than pretty much anywhere else in the country. And that's including with teacher salaries and everything else. But because they have such a small student ratio, they can go, oh, well, look at them. Look at how much money they spend over there, and they're going to get more fucking money. That's kind of what they're talking about with this. And chips away at abortion rights. What are you talking about? Basically, you already admitted in this that that's not even an issue right now. What was it? Like I said, NBC or ABC had to admit it. Okay, gay rights. What rights does a gay not have that I have? They actually have more rights than the average fucking person. At least they got rolled back a little, because you can't fucking go into a fucking bakery, you know, skip over a bunch of them in between your house and their bakery, and then try to force them to bake a cake for you, knowing full well you're going to fucking sue them. And here's the thing. You're trying to say all these things are majority supported. Abortion rights. I hate to break it to you, but like half the country is against abortion. That's not a majority. If you've got half the country against it, you don't have the majority. And this whole thing since the Great Depression. Oh my God. Gotta blink back to FDR, one of the worst fucking presidents in the history of this nation. To lower the stakes of confirmation battles, Farris favors eliminating lifetime tenure for judges and adopting the nonpartisan group fix the court's plan of non-renewable 18-year term limits. But unless nominees voluntarily pledge to step down after 18 years, which would effectively be a form of unilateral disarmament if only one party's nominee takes that pledge, term limits will require a constitutional amendment to enact. Court packing, by contrast, only requires an act of Congress and could pressure Republicans to accept term limits as a compromise. Jesus fucking Christ, you are so fucking sleazy. You can't get what you want. So, that day in the future when we take over the White House and the Senate and the House, what we're going to do is we're going to stack the court in our favor, and we're going to browbeat Republicans, and we're going to treat them like fucking bitches, and we're going to bend them over, and without any Vaseline, with our little tiny fucking soy boy dicks, we're going to fuck them up the ass. That's what you're saying here, Dylan. And it ain't going to fucking happen. People aren't going to roll over to this shit. If the reactionary right is unwilling to go along with this idea, as they almost certainly won't be due to the short-term political calculations, Democrats must use the power granted to them by the Constitution to pack the Supreme Court, protect the legislation demanded by a majority of Americans, and hopefully to convince their opponents that the current structure of the court system cries out for a bipartisan solution, Ferris concludes. Oh my God. So, because Republicans don't want to bow down to your shit, and they're now standing up for themselves a bit more than they were, okay, because they used to bow down to you fucks. You're going to go, we'll pack the court if you don't do what we want. That's what you just said here. That's fucking disgusting. That's sleazy. In the aftermath of Kennedy's retirement, a number of leftist liberal writers echoed Farris's arguments. At Kept Smile, a pseudomus lawyer with a popular Twitter account, argued in the outline, increasing the size of the court is an entirely proportional response to the GOP's abuse of power. Excuse me, GOP's abuse of power. You fuckers rolled over the fucking Republicans with the Affordable Care Act. Shit like that. Oh, you gotta pass it. You can't read it, but you gotta pass it. That's okay. But when they fucking actually do shit within the Constitution, within the law, it's abuse of process. Fuck you. If you're talking about the appointment of Gorsuch, let's look at the fact of that fucking tradition. So fuck you again. Gorsuch's appointment alone justifies it. Bullshit. Obama did not have the right, because of tradition, to appoint your little bitch Merrick. So shut the fuck up. In shifting the court from a potential 5-4 liberal majority to a 5-4 conservative majority, the Republicans effectively stole 2 votes. Bullshit. Increasing the court size to just 11 justices would merely rebalance what was taken. Bullshit. You want to increase it to 11 justices and slap all fucking Democrats in. And you're at 9 now. So that means you're going to get 3 more, which will give you a fucking majority. An idiot can do the math and figure out that doesn't balance shit. Todd Tucker, a political scientist and fellow at the Roosevelt University, argued more explicitly on the basis of policy outcomes in Jacobin. With union density near an all-time low and climate catastrophe on the horizon, future lawmakers will need tools even more robust than what FDR was able to get through. Think Green National Industry Recovery Act on steroids, Tucker writes. A handful of justices pulled from the Federalist Society debating clubs can't and shouldn't get away with more democratic sustainability. Should get in the way of a more democratic and sustainable economy. More democratic. The green industry is about forcing carbon taxes on people. It's about fucking making them live in this country, about making them live like Europeans, freezing their asses off in their tiny little fucking homes, wearing 3 fucking sweaters. Fuck off and die. That's not democratic. That's fucking socialist. Holy fucking shit. The existence of historical precedents for court packing beyond FDR further bolsters the argument for it. In a 1968 article for the Baylor Law Review, political scientist J.R. Saylor detailed 7 occasions Congress has enlarged or diminished the size of the Supreme Court by 1 or 2 justices. And they did so within reason. What you want to do is stack the fucking court. They did it for other reasons. Holy fucking shit. As the country got bigger, maybe we should add another justice. Each of these 7 times, the changes were made either to purge the court of justices making decisions objectionable to an incumbent of the White House or to a dominant party majority in the Congress, or to pack the court in order that the policies of the government in power would be upheld as constitutional. This is twisted shit. This is right here. In 1801, before the inauguration of Thomas Jefferson, the outgoing Federalist Party passed the Judiciary Act of 1801, shrinking the court from 6 to 5 members by providing that the next member to die or resign would not be replaced. Saylor describes this as undoubtedly an attempt made by the Federalists to keep the court wholly Federalist. Not necessarily true. I love how they take history out of context here. In 1802, Jefferson's Democratic-Republican Party repealed the 1801 law and returned the court to 6 members. Well, yes, because the court was that way. But you're using this... Oh, my God. In 1807, the Jeffersonian-dominated Congress expanded the court to even more members to accommodate new judicial circuits covering Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and the new additions to the Union. Yes, as I said, as the country grew, they increased the size of the court. You're trying to make stacking the court equate out to that. You are fucking sleazy motherfuckers. In 1837, 2 new court circuits were created, and the court size increased to 9. Saylor credits this to the geographic pressures of America's westward expansion, but notes that Andrew Jackson quickly took advantage and appointed 2 new justices the day before he left office. Which led to the tradition. Holy fucking shit. That's why the tradition came about of a lame duck president or one going out, not... Yeah. Yet, you're trying to use this, oh my God, to back the fact of having Merrick. Convenient omission of truth that created the tradition. In 1863, Congress increased the Supreme Court size to 10 members in the midst of the Civil War. Saylor explains, there was a widespread suspicion that Lincoln wanted another man on the court on whom he could depend, lest the body invalidate some of the crucial and doubtful wartime legislation which was coming before it at the time. Oh, yeah. All right. Lincoln wasn't a great president. He was kind of a fucking, authoritarian shitbag to an extent with some of the things he did. In 1866, a pro-Reconstruction Republicans in Congress did battle with President Andrew Johnson. Congress passed a law barring Johnson from filling vacancies until the court shrank to 8 members, which occurred the following year. Well, yeah, if the court's shrinking and he still got to appoint it, they were a rule. Oh, my God. In 1869, with pro-Reconstruction President Ulysses S. Grant in office, Congress increased the court size to 9, where it stayed ever since. Yeah. And now you want to fucking stack it 11 or 15, up to 11 or 15, and fill all those with Democrats. Fuck off and die. Arguments against court packing. Court packing was unpopular with the public when proposed by Roosevelt, and there's a reason that many constitutional scholars and political scientists continue to decry it to this day. Yeah, but see, you want it, because you don't want democracy. And how democracies die. Harvard comparative politics scholars Stephen Levitsky and Daniel Ziblatt characterized 1937 as one of America's close calls with Democratic backsliding, along with Richard Nixon's attempt to evade justice at the end of his presidency. Democratic institutions depend crucially on the willingness of governing parties to defend them, even against their own leaders. Levitsky and Ziblatt right. Exactly. The failure of Roosevelt's court-packing scheme and the fall of Nixon were made possible when key members of the president's own party decided to stand up and oppose him. Exactly. Which is what happened with FDR. See, you try to make it sound like this was a popular Democrat thing. See, you throw this at the end because you don't want people to read this, because you just want them to read up the fact of how great it would be to pack the fucking court. You are a sleazy little fucker. Let's put the reasons why we shouldn't pack the court at the end, because no one's going to read that far. In their 2017 paper, How to Lose a Constitutional Democracy, University of Chicago law professors Aziz Huq and Tom Ginsburg concur, writing, the presidential effort to pack the Supreme Court represents a low point for the rule of law in the United States and is a technique that has been followed by modern-day liberal Democrats. Exactly. Followed by leftists. Followed by the cultural Marxist fucks. You people don't understand that because you don't care about democracy. You see, you do understand that fact that it'll destroy democracy, but you don't care because you want what you want. It's not hard to see why political scientists taking a more international view would see court packing as, on its face, a threat to democratic institutions. As Huq and Ginsburg note, court packing is a frequently used tool in the toolkit of would-be authoritarians. Exactly. And I love how you put this shit at the end. In 2004, Hugo Chavez's allies in the National Assembly of Venezuela expanded the Supreme Court from 20 to 32 members and packed it with Chavez loyalists. Exactly. Which is what you want to do. Huh. Cultural Marxists want to pack the U.S. Supreme Court like a fucking socialist. Like Chavez. Okay, huh. In 46 and 47, Argentina's populist president and former military coup conspirator Juan Perón successfully impeached 4 out of the country's 5 Supreme Court justices in a bid to consolidate power. Yep. And this is the type of shit you fucks want to do. In 1989, Argentine President Carlos Menem, fearing Supreme Court opposition to his privatization schemes, expanded the court from 5 to 9 members and packed it with sympathetic judges. In 2012, Juan Orlando Hernandez, then the president of Honduras National Congress and today the increasingly dictatorial country's right-wing president, conspired to sack 4 of the 5 Supreme Court justices and replace them with his allies. As part of Viktor Orban's rise to power in Hungary's dictator in 2010, he and Fidesz party amended the rules of Supreme Court appointments so that the opposition no longer had to assessment to nominees. What the fuck does that? Had assessment to nominees. In 2011, they expanded the number of judges from 11 to 15. In 2012 and 2013, they expanded the terms on the bench from 9 to 12 years and eliminated the 70-year age limit previously in place. These moves together resulted in 11 out of 15 judges being Fidesz loyalists. Poland's authoritarian nationalist law and justice party in 2017 seized control over the Supreme Court by pushing legislation that gives the ruling party the ability to appoint new judges and the power to dismiss judges below a certain retirement age, which happens to disproportionately enable the dismissal of judges critical of the law and justice party. In the wake of the massive public opposition, the president vetoed the legislation only to accept a very similar bill months later. All this followed the party's 2015 decision not to swear in judges appointed by their predecessors and to force a supermajority requirement on the court, effectively weakening it. Among many other attempts to weaken the judiciary, Turkey's authoritarian president Recep Tayyip Erdogan, then the prime minister, in 2010 pushed through a referendum increasing the constitutional court size from 11 to 17 and enabling him and his loyalists to fill the new vacancies. Yeah, which is exactly what you fuckers want to do. But you're going, oh, it's good. And this is why you put this at the end. The pattern is clear. Court packing is what autocrats do as they begin to consolidate their power. What you're trying to consolidate power you don't have, which goes to show how fucking stupid you are. And it's been a particularly popular method in the past couple decades. It's not a thing of the past and is currently used by the authoritarian backsliders, Orban, the Law and Justice Party, Erdogan, that people who worry about Trump anti-democratic tendencies compare him to. Trump's anti-democratic. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is complete bullshit. Trump is more of a fuck. Holy shit. Trump is more about democracy than you fuckers on the left are. You've admitted you don't want democracy. You want what you want. You're going to get what you want, regardless of what the fucking people want. Shut the fuck up. Talk about projection. Supporters of the court packing could argue that just because the same method is used doesn't mean that court packing itself isn't anti-democratic. Excuse me. You admitted you want to put through your ideology and fuck the Constitution. Fuck the rule of law. That's anti-democratic. That's literally the definition of it. To give an analogy, when Italy abandoned proportional representation in 1933 by adopting the Acerbo Law, it did so to try to engineer landslide victories for Benito Mussolini's fascists. But it doesn't follow that any country that doesn't use proportional representation, like the US or UK or Canada, automatically is an autocrat. I don't know, it kind of is. Court packing is a tool. It can be used for authoritarian ends or for democratic ones. Bullshit. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. It's never been used for democratic ones. That's like you idiots with fucking communism and socialism go, it might not have worked that time, but it'll work this next time. To which critics will reply, not so fast. Even well-intentioned court packing schemes like FDR's arguably was. FDR's was not arguably a well-intentioned one. He wanted fucking control. For fuck's sake. You assholes, you talk about, oh, well, tradition this, and fuck tradition. Well, FDR said fuck tradition. Because before then, okay, there was a tradition. You did 2 terms and you left. He did 4. And that's when they said, you know what? We should fucking make term limits a thing. Because he fucked the country that bad. So, like FDR's argument was, can set off a cycle of mutual escalation that winds up discrediting and weakening the institution being battled over. That was FDR's doing, if any of that happened. The Supreme Court has no army. Its authority rests on the thin reed of public acceptance and political forbearance. If it were to be weaponized in a court packing scheme, its rulings might suddenly stop being obeyed. Exactly, which is what you people don't understand. You want to pack the fucking court, but you don't understand that people are going to go, okay, doesn't follow the Constitution, fuck you. Let's say that President Bernie Sanders packs a court in 2021, and the court subsequently overrules Milliken v. Bradley and forces white suburbs across the country to bus their kids into inner city public schools and to accept disproportionately black and Latinx, Latin, not Latinx, Latin students from poor neighborhoods bust into their own schools. This would be correct result, in my opinion. Bullshit. Why should, if someone fucking lives in a different community, why should you fucking tell that kid, well, fuck you. You gotta now be bussed all the way the fuck over here. Fuck you. That's not right that's not the correct result. That's fucking bullshit. If those people in the shitty fucking school district want to have their kids have a better education, well then you know what? Bust your fucking ass and either put the kid in private fucking school or bust your fucking ass and fucking get enough money to move to a better fucking school district. Fuck you! Milliken v. Bradley was a disastrous decision that drastically undermined the cause of school desegregation. Bullshit. Because when it was passed, it was well past the point of fucking desegregation. It was well past that point. So shut the fuck up. Because let's see what year this was. On the note of schools, it was well past the point of desegregation. See, because, this is the thing, all right? It happened in the 70s, which this is at the point of they already desegregated schools. But because you had the suburbs of Detroit being more so white and the city being more so black, they said, well, you should have to bust those kids in and we should have to bust those kids out. And you want to know why they were doing that back then? Because the schools in Detroit itself, back then, like they are now, were complete and total fucking shit. And they were looking for a way to get these kids into the better fucking school at the cost of the kids whose parents busted their ass to get them in the better school. And that's why the Supreme Court said, oh, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to fly. Milliken v. Bradley was a disastrous decision that drastically undermined the cause of school desegregation, which is complete bullshit. But if such a ruling followed a court-packing effort, how much do you want to bet that the rich suburbs of Chicago's North Shore would actually start busing their kids to Englewood? Or that Beverly Hills would let students in from Compton? Or would they view the ruling as illegitimate and simply not obey? Well, considering anyone can go to those fucking schools where it's, where that case took place, desegregation happened. It just so happened that demographically, the schools were predominantly black. But yet you're trying to twist the whole fucking thing. Fuck you. You could imagine the same for any number of issues. Alabama refusing to issue same-sex marriage licenses and disregarding any Supreme Court ruling, forcing it to obey. Obergefell v. Hodges. South Dakota banning all abortions save when the life of a mother is at risk, and ignoring Supreme Court rulings striking the law down. Well, considering something like abortion should be a states' rights issue, the whole thing of marriage should be a states' rights issue because they can ban marriages in different states for different reasons for heterosexuals. Okay, by your logic, then polygamists should be able to fucking marry, and then fucking, brother and sister and cousins and all this other shit should be able to marry. But yet, they're discriminated against by your logic because gays have the rights to marry, but they don't. I don't see you fucking championing their cause. Oh, God, you are so fucking pathetic. If this all sounds far-fetched, let me quote Think Progress's fucking Soros's dick sucker, Ian Milshire, who is broadly sympathetic to court packing as a last-ditch effort to prevent the Supreme Court from entrenching economic equality permanently. You pull out one of Soros's biggest bitches? You pull out his, most favorite dick rider? Ooh! Ooh! I'm impressed! Far from it, actually. Packing the court would effectively destroy the legitimacy of the federal judiciary and potentially embolden right states. Oh, you mean states that understand the Constitution? That you won't? You mean states will fucking fight back against your fucking Soros fucking bullshit of this non-democratic crap? You're right. And they will ignore decisions they don't like because you know what? Fuck you. No more Roe, no more Ogenfeld, no more Fourth Amendment. Right, because if you pack the court, they're going to go fuck you. Now maybe, ultimately weakening the Supreme Court is a good thing. Yeah, because then you leftists can do what the fuck you want, which is what you want anyways. Plenty of legal scholars on both sides of the aisle have, for years, argued that the U.S. goes too far in embracing judicial review. Few other countries give their Supreme Courts their power we give others to strike down democratically enacted laws. Because they don't have constitutions to abide by. Like we do. Even in Canada, the Parliament and the provinces retain the power to reverse Supreme Court decisions with supermajority votes. Right, because they don't give a shit. It's feels over reals in Canada. Look at the shit show Canada is. Look at the shit show Europe is. If their Supreme Courts had some actual fucking bite, do you think you would have, this unchecked immigration of quote-unquote, refugees who are economic migrants mixed in with truck drivers of peace fuckwits? No. Perhaps court packing would set off a spiral that results in a dramatically weakened court and power returned to the states and Congress to settle contentious issues like abortion and desegregation and LGBT rights through democratic processes. I'm extremely sympathetic to that argument, but it's also possible that that's not what happens. That court packing merely leads to more games of constitutional hardball and enables a future president to push through legislation that makes him and his allies basically impossible to dislodge from power, with a packed Supreme Court that is unwilling and unable to stop him. That, roughly, is what happened in Poland, Hungary, Honduras, Venezuela, and Turkey. It could happen here, too. I love how all these countries, Poland, Hungary, okay? They try to group in with Honduras, Venezuela, and Turkey. Poland and Hungary are conservative governments. You don't like conservatives. We get that. But yeah, I mean, this is the type of shit that they're talking about. And I wasn't going to cover this article, and this is way too much time I've wasted here. I mean, I spent an hour on this. But this guy, Dylan, seriously, should be called out for his shit. Like I said, I hope Dylan, if you ever watch this, which I doubt, you understand that if you were my kid, I would seriously go to your mother and go, bitch, you should have swallowed that night. You are a fucking waste of space. This is the poster child soy boy for the left. This is what's wrong with the left. And I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.